What a beautiful day it was today in Pittsburgh as folks line up to get tickets to the start of an 8-game homestand, the first of 4 with the Milwaukee Brewers. The Pirates hosting the team with the very best record in all of Major League Baseball. Bucks coming off their first road trip of the year. And as you know by now, the Pirates were swept in Milwaukee during that last road trip at Miller Park. Greg Brown along with Steve Blass. Steve, good to be back home, and especially when you're hosting the team with the very best record in baseball.
Exactly. They're a very well-balanced ball club now, the Milwaukee Brewers, pitching and very good offense, but a good homestand. So I sent you guys out on the road. It didn't work 3-6, so it's good to have the Pirates back home.
And the Pirates will have a little bit of a different look in their lineup. Clint Hurdle moves Russell Martin to the 2 spot of the batting order, and he moves Neil Walker from the 6 spot to the 5-hole, Steve.
Yeah, when you're not scoring many runs and the Pirates are really scuffling offensively, you throw a lot of names in the hat. You try to come up with the right combinations. Just see if you can give everybody a different look, because I think when it comes down to cases, those guys after the first at bat or second at bat, they don't care where they are in the lineup. They're just looking to put the bat on the ball.
Steve, the Pirates are 7-8 right now, exactly where they were last year. And look at the numbers compared to the 2013 team after 15 games.
All worked out last year, didn't
it?
Yeah. So, very small sampling, 15 ball games, certainly a long way to go. So, we're sitting pretty much where we were, and if we keep on pitching until this hitting comes around, we'll be all right.
And you know, the Pirates were definitely all right at home last year, and as we said, great to be hosting the Milwaukee Brewers. The Pirates were 7-3 against the Brew Crew at PNC Park last season. So home sweet home, game 1 of this 8-game homestand coming up in a moment.
Root Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Now's the time to go places with Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com for special offers. And by PNC Bank for the achiever in you. Let's go Bucks!
And what a night. Cool evening, but boy, it's great to see the sun back. Maybe a spring is here for sure. The Pirates are certainly here. Edinson Volquez making his way in from the bullpen. Ray Surge following closely behind. And in the dugout, let's see what Gabby Sanchez, Neil Walker, Andrew McCutcheon, and others have in store. They're about to do they want to make sure everybody's in place with their pregame dance. I think McCutchen will lead the way. No? Oh, here we are. They're about to go. Here we go. Josh Harrison leading it. There's Tony Sanchez talking to Gabby. Tony Sanchez is telling the story about what happened to him. Mike Tyson just threw out a ceremonial first pitch and pretended to bite off a piece of Tony Sanchez's ear. And of course, Tyson has done that. I don't know that Evander Holyfield thought it was so funny, but there we go. Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Tony Holyfield.
Yeah. We are a forgiving nation, and that's good. If you succeed, no matter what your past, they forgive you. I think that's if you succeed,
even if it's a substantial past.
Exactly right. Includes it, you know.
Yep.
And it's in Volquez. There we go. Putting the water pistols back in their holsters. And it's Volquez and Giovanni Gallardo matching up in this game. And on Saturday, Gallardo was good, and so was Volquez.
Yeah, and a lot of people will ask pitchers, Greg, if they like to go back-to-back with starts against a particular team. I still think it's an advantage for the pitcher. You remember a little bit what you did, and you have the advantage anyway because a hitter has to react. And if you can pick up something or remember something from what you did last start, even if it's against the same team, I think it's a good thing for the pitcher. I think it gives him the edge rather than the hitters. And it's, you talk about a struggling offense. You don't want to try to get it together against Giovanni Gallardo. He's pretty darn good. 5 consecutive seasons of double-figure wins. He's one of the better ones that nobody really talks about in the National League, at least, maybe in the big leagues.
Edinson Volquez takes the mound. This will be his third start, his fourth appearance as a member of the Pirates, signed over the winter as a free agent after spending parts of the last 2 years with the San Diego Padres. Volquez, 3 no decisions in his 3 outings. A relief appearance against the Cubs was his Pirates debut. This is the lineup he'll be facing. Ron Renicke's Brewers. Carlos Gomez, 4th career leadoff home run last Saturday against Volquez and the Pirates. Then it's Gene Segura and Ryan Braun. Ramos Ramirez hits cleanup. Jonathan Lucroy, the catcher, will follow. Chris Davis is the left fielder. Veteran Mark Reynolds is at first base. Scooter Gennett at second. And Giovanni Gallardo is on the mound. Carlos Gomez can do it all. He's got some power, he's got the speed, and now he's got a gold glove for his mantle. He'll be leading things off against Edinson Volquez.
Nothing not to like about Volquez so far. One earlier trip out of the bullpen before the 2 starts, and he has been outstanding. But with this offense not scoring many runs, he comes in with a record of no wins and no losses. But he's been doing very, very nice work. And he's going to have to be good tonight against Gallardo. And this Brewers team, as you said, the best record in baseball, very balanced team.
Defense behind Edinson Volquez. Andrew McCutchen is in center field. Starling Marte in left. Travis Snyder in right. Up the middle on the infield, it's Jordy Mercer and Neil Walker. On the corners, Gabby Sanchez and Pedro Alvarez. And Russell Martin catches Edinson Volquez. Marte back in left field, asking Clint Hurdle before the game if he thought, even though Marte got just a couple of at-bats off, as Jose Tabata started yesterday, might that help Marte? He said, not sure. Would like to have him rested for a day or 2 rather than just a couple of at-bats. Of course, Tabata forced to lead the game yesterday as he banged up against the wall to make a great catch at Great American Ballpark. And Tabata is okay. And a line drive up the middle to start things. These Brewers don't waste time. They swing at just about anything near the strike zone, and they don't strike out a lot. A little old school, Steve.
Old school in that maybe that philosophy being if you, against good major league pitching, wait around too long during an at-bat, you're going to fall behind in the count. We all know what the numbers say about hitters. When you're behind in the count, the average is significantly lower. So they don't want to fall behind. They don't want to get in the hole 1-2 or 0-2.
Ron Renicky, the Milwaukee Brewers skipper, Gene Segura, is at the plate. And Segura takes a strike on the outside corner.
What's interesting about these Brewers, too, is that they have the best record in baseball, but 5-4 at home. Very average record. They're 6-0 on the road. They have not lost a game away from Miller Park this year. That's highly unusual, but again, that sampling, we must have patience at this game at times because we've played 15 games each.
Those games on the road were in Boston. So they swept a 3-game series at Fenway Park, and then they swept a 3-game series in Philadelphia against the Phillies. They had the 9-game winning streak snapped against the St. Louis Cardinals. They followed the Pirates into Miller Park.
Pretty decent lead.
And the bunt. There goes a sacrifice. Segura certainly would have taken a hit, but he bunted it right back toward the mound, so instead we'll get the sacrifice. Allegheny Health Network injury update. This is the collision with the wall. Tabata really shaken up, but he's going to be okay. Left with concussion-like symptoms. Now they are really booing Ryan Braun.
No surprise. Everywhere he goes.
So I guess we're a forgiving nation to a point, huh?
Yeah, and he's got a big smile on his face. He knows what to expect.
Hey, you're talking to the folks that watch the Brewers every day. They say he's been using this, or at least was on that road trip, as a motivating tool. If he needs more motivation, carry a chip on his shoulder. And a strike is called on Braun. Of course, they're booing him because of not only the suspension, but the denials that came before the suspension.
I think he's always had pretty good motivation. I don't think he needs this, but if he's using it, well, he's a pretty fine baseball player. Regardless of what you think, what the circumstances are, this guy can play the game. Simple as that. Maybe it's not as simple as that.
He wants to prove that he can still play the game without PEDs.
Yeah.
He's out to prove to baseball that he won the MVP 3 years ago without the aid of the PEDs, can do it clean. Braun, by the way, had a sensational series against the Phillies. He hit .500 with 3 homers and 10 RBIs. He's batting .200 in all the other games played. He's got an RBI on the table for him. There's a bouncer stabbed by Volquez and a shot between second base, and he'll toss at the very end. And Alvarez will run back Gomez. Well, they're going to have somebody out, and it will be
tag everybody.
Gomez. No, I'm sorry, Braun is out because Gomez had the bag before. The preceding runner gets it. But I was looking at Volquez to see at the very end he tossed it and then hit the ground. And he laid on the ground for a moment. Obviously, he's just fine.
You got him trapped there.
He runs.
And you wonder when he's going to give it back towards second base. He does. And then Gomez does a good job of just keeping it alive for Braun to get into second base.
The bag belongs to the runner who was there's Volquez on the ground. The bag belongs to Gomez, so Braun is out.
Yeah, they're both waiting to find out who has to leave.
But, nice job by Volquez.
Yeah. Yep, he did the right thing. He created an angle back towards second base. You don't want to start the rundown with an angle toward the base ahead, third base. Always go back just in case nothing works. You haven't given up third base.
That's a big second out for Volquez. Runner at second base now. For Ramos Ramirez, and be very careful to him. He has 13 RBIs the early going. That's tied for fourth most in the league. And he's hitting .377, which is tied for sixth. And though it is early, we always use that disclaimer, through a couple of weeks plus, he has the best numbers in terms of batting with runners in scoring position. That's where that runner is right now at second base.
This is an interesting matchup because Volquez is throwing a lot of first pitch strikes, and these guys like first pitch strikes.
Clint Hurdle addressed that very subject before the game, talking about these Brewers, that they do like those first pitch strikes, and we have to be better throwing our first pitch strikes, throwing better,
or perhaps
strikes.
Moving somebody.
Well, that's something that some people have been wondering about. You know, the Pirates, really, the pitching staff, over 15 games, you really haven't seen many players backed off that plate. There's a line drive into center field. Ramirez does it again. Aramis Ramirez rips it into center field. Volquez ducks out of the way, and it's 1-0 Milwaukee.
Well, if you move somebody off the plate on your first pitch, it does a couple things. It takes a base hit away because they're not going to hit it if it's right at them, and it gives them something to think about. So you got a couple things working for you if you do let somebody know you're out there.
Well, this is his 11th hit in 14 at-bats with runners in scoring position. 786 average for Aramis Ramirez, who drives in his 14th run. Well, there have been some line drives, some hard hit balls early on against Volquez, who has had some first inning troubles since 2009 as a starter.
Yeah, the line drive singles by Gomez and Ramirez well hit to center field.
And the ball hit by Braun stabbed the one hopper. But Volquez an ERA of 6.73 in the first inning from 2009 through 2013, not including his 2 starts this season. Jonathan Lucroy, 302 hitter. He was 2 for 7 in the series at Miller Park last weekend. A ball and a strike. 2 outs and a run in as the Brewers strike first. Ball gets away from Martin. Wild pitch moves Ramirez into scoring position.
Mr. Liriano with a couple wild pitches in the first inning yesterday.
Martin giving it a shot, but unable to keep it close. There is Francisco Liriano. His good buddy on the mound. They were friends in the Dominican, growing up playing Little League ball together.
Well, his other real good buddy really gave it to the Pirates yesterday, Mr. Cueto.
Yeah.
They came up together with the Reds. That was supposed to be the 1-2 foundation for the Reds for years to come. Cueto has remained because, as we know, has moved around.
Volquez called Liriano over the winter when the Pirates were making overtures about a possible free agent deal. Find out more about this team and this town. And ball 4. On the first walk.
And one of the good things about Volquez in the first 2 starts, and again, it's just 2 starts, but his control has been quite good. Just 3 walks.
Yeah, one of those intentional.
Yeah. And that's gonna help any pitcher trying to get his act together after a tough year or 2. Start throwing the ball over the plate.
Chris Davis, the left fielder, was 0 for 7 in the series against the Pirates at Miller Park last weekend. Volquez needs to get him here. The 6th batter this first inning. The 93-mile-per-hour fastball fouled back by Davis. Carlos Gomez begins the game with a single to center field. Segura sacrificed him to second. Braun and the shot back to the mound. And Volquez got Gomez in the rundown. Braun eventually erased Ramirez. The line single to center. A wild pitch and a walk.
Seems like he's been out there 20 minutes, but this is still just pitch number 14. A lot of first pitch action.
Ball and a strike on Chris Davis.
good breaking ball there. Looks like it's going to be right there, and suddenly it's not. It's down at the corner of the strike zone. That's where you want to throw the good breaking ball. He hits it, not much you can do with it.
Steve, opponents hitting just .063 against Volquez's curveball early on. .091 against his changeup. .261 against his fastball. And a bouncer toward third, and an easy play for Alvarez. They get a run in the top of the first. Now the Pirates will face Giovanni Gallardo. PNC Park for the Pirates and the Milwaukee Brewers. Game 1 of the 4-game series. The Toyota starting lineup. Starling Marte, you'll see the change. Russell Martin hits second. Andrew McCutchen, a .325 career hitter against Gallardo. Pedro Alvarez, the cleanup man. Then Neil Walker moving up from the 6th hole. Gabby Sanchez back in the lineup. And Travis Snyder dropped from number 2 to number 7 in the batting order. Then it's Jordy Mercer and Edinson Volquez. Well, Marte was going to sit at least a game yesterday, but he ended up getting 2 at-bats when Tabata was injured. He grounded out and struck out those 2 at-bats against Johnny Cueto yesterday.
And he'll tee it up against Giovanni Gallardo, 2-0, dazzling numbers, ERA under 1. As we said, a double-figure winner the last 5 years. He is very, very good, very consistent. This young man out of Mexico, 28 years old, 6'2", 208 pounds. Last year, a 12-game winner, 12-10 with the Brewers.
Home plate umpire, Manny Gonzalez. Our gate open beyond the outfield there, so strike is called. Marte hitting .250 with a homer and 3 runs batted in, was 2 for 12 against Milwaukee. Marte striking out certainly at too frequent a pace, and it goes in hand with the fact that Hurdle wanted him to take a breather. 24 strikeouts for Marte, tied for the most in the league with Garrett Jones of the Marlins.
And Gallardo trying to get him to chase upstairs. Pretty much a 4-pitch pitcher, Giovanni Gallardo, working to Starling Marte. Fastball, curve, slider, change.
Well, that fastball may be down a bit the last couple years, but As Hurdle and others have said, he's as effective as he has ever been. Gallardo.
And just 3 walks in his first 3 starts. Control excellent.
Marte struck out twice against him in Milwaukee, but there's a good start.
Yeah, out in front 0-2, and then loses him.
Tonight's Barrel Automotive League leaders stat: Brewers pitching staff best in the major leagues in wins, ERA, and WHIP. That's walks and hits per innings pitch.
And it starts with a starting rotation too, in that all 5 starters, the highest ERA of the 5 is 3.43. Very consistent. You got 5 starters with ERAs under 3.5. You're doing pretty good.
Russell Martin batting second tonight. And hits this hard to center field, but Gomez back and makes the catch. Oh boy, that was ripped by Martin.
Had that sound.
Wind isn't going to help the offense much tonight.
Blowing in. Down toward the heel of the glove and then trying to roll up out of the webbing, but he stays with it. Yeah, strong wind blowing in, a cold night, so the ball's probably not going to be flying. About the middle of July, that ball is one hop in the wall.
Now Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen had 2 of the 6 hits against Gallardo last Saturday. Now batting .268. A strike. The Pirates center fielder.
Kind of a semi-shift the Brewers put on with second baseman Jeanette almost up and back of second base. Big hole between first and second.
Marte has stolen 3 of 4 attempts. McCutchen had a steal against Gallardo and Lucroy at Miller Park last weekend.
Greg, it still looks kind of unusual to see Ryan Braun in right field. From third base to left field, now to right field.
They're talking about Chris Davis's arm being below average, so they moved Braun from left to right. There goes Marte, taken for a ball, throw down, not going to get him. Number 4 on the season for Marte.
And I'm just going to mark the number of plays without a replay or an appeal as one. I'd give that like an average jump, but the speed of Marte after the jump on his trip to second base enough to get him the safe call.
Let's see if Andrew McCutchen can tie it up. McCutchen 6 for 16 his last 4 games. Checks his swing and takes, that's a foul ball off the bat. 1 ball and 2 strikes on McCutchen. Five RBIs. Looking for his first home run. Gallardo gave up just 18 last year. None so far this season. 2-2.
And he sure does love pitching against the Pittsburgh Pirates in 20 starts with that 11-4 mark. And really a high winning percentage for a team that has not necessarily been piling up high team winning percentages. 83, 53 lifetime. 30 games over 500.
Towards center field, well hit. Gomez back to the warning track. Clear the deck. Cannonball coming. The MVP with his first home run of the season, and the Pirates lead 2-1.
There's your difficult wind conditions and cold weather, the ball not traveling. I guess if you put enough of a charge into it, straightaway center field. It's going to go when you're Andrew McCutchen. That'll light up your Thursday night. Welcome back home.
Two-one Pittsburgh. Well, that certainly lights up the crowd. As Alvarez takes a ball.
That is right in the wheelhouse. A little bit up, a little bit in, not too far up, not too far in, just right.
Right into the shift, shallow right field. Jeanette throws on to first, and a close play. Very close play. A little bobble, and Alvarez runs, as we've said so many times before, much better than you would think from a big man, and he's going to hold on at first base and wait to see if this is a play that the Pirates want to challenge. Clint Hurdle will trot out toward first base. Umpire Sean Barber, bench coach Jeff Bannister checks in, and it looks like they got him.
You know what's interesting too, that ball was hit so hard it almost handcuffed the second baseman who was playing right field. That ball was hit that hard.
Clint Hurdle looked back at Jeff Bannister, who had checked in with the video coordinator in the clubhouse. Thumbs down, don't challenge.
Is there a point where we'll put a bungee cord on some of the managers so they can just hit a button and it'll just yank him back in the dugout?
Maybe.
That ball was hit hard. So some line drives.
On Neil Walker. Now there's an interesting moment there when it comes to replay, though. Without replay, Hurdle might spend a minute or two out there at least discussing, if not arguing, with Sean Barber. And that's what the proponents of replay have talked about, that this could actually speed up the game. 2-0 the count on Neil Walker. The umpiring crew, Manny Gonzalez, Sean Barber, Jim Reynolds at second. Crew chief is Fielden Colbreth. 2-1 on Walker.
Certainly a good start against Gallardo. First home run given up this year. Start number 4.
Obviously disappointed Neil Walker at that call. I can understand why.
Downstairs
hit the dirt.
And then some.
Somebody raised another good point about this replay, and it's who knows how long the debate will go on. If baseball said they want to get all the plays right, especially the bad calls, somebody said, what about these strikes that we've seen? If they want to get them all right, what about the strike
You've opened
zone?
up a whole box of issues then.
Yeah.
If you want to get everything right,
then you
eliminate umpires. You just
Right.
do everything technologically.
Strike 3 call. But Andrew McCutchen strikes with his first home run of the season, with Starling Marte aboard. And the MVP gives the Pirates a 2-1 lead. fan photo of the day. Show us how you root for the Buccos, how you wear your black and gold. Jolly Roger, where that is posted in your house or maybe in your front yard, porches, windows. Just submit a picture via Twitter using the hashtag BucsFanPhoto, and we'll show those photos during our broadcast. The batter is Mark Reynolds. And Reynolds takes strike one. Andrew McCutchen's home run on the center field wall makes it a 2-1 ball game. Pirates overshift Reynolds with essentially 3 infielders on the left side. There it is, and you could pretty much thank Ron Renneke. We've talked about that before, about when he entered the league as the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, he had told others, he was on Mike Scioscia's staff with the Angels, that if he ever had a chance, he would shift even right-hand hitters. It had not been done before. Left-handed hitters, yes. Where you move everybody over toward the right side. This has not been seen in baseball for a lot of years, where you actually move your second baseman over to the left side of the infield. And it's in the air to right. Snyder.
The only guy within about 4 acres, but he was right there. That one right at him.
Travis Snyder makes the easy catch. 1 down. Brings up Scooter Gennett. Left-handed hitting second baseman. He and Ricky Weeks have been platooning.
Volquez mentioning to Pedro Alvarez, be alert in case he wants to drop one down in that direction. More first pitch strikes for Edinson.
Coming into this game, 61% first pitch strikes thrown by Volquez. Last year was 56%, so he's increased that. It's not just a matter of first pitch strikes, but boy, that's a huge part of it. Success, I guess, of any pitcher, Steve.
You want to get out in front. You can get hurt on occasion, but I still like the idea of getting out in front. 0-1.
So far tonight, 6 of the first 8 batters. He's thrown a first pitch strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Gennett.
Close.
Two and 2. The other way for Gennett. Marte has to hustle over. A 360 spin, and what a job by Marte to hold Gennett to a single there. Those are the type of plays you can't find in the box score the next day. You have to watch these games to appreciate the defense of Starling Marte.
Yeah. Gennett's leaving the batter's box thinking he's got 2 bases.
Ball scooting on that turf.
Yeah, and not only the throw, but the pickup, to make that kind of a pickup. And after that, it's Marte at his best with that strong arm, but just getting to that ball on the move, reaching down when you're still running, and taking 90 feet away from Gennett. Yeah, he's really believing there's 2 bases there. Nice play.
1 ball, no strikes on Gallardo. Going to try and move Gennett into scoring position. One of the best hitting pitchers in baseball, Gallardo. 12 career homers. 206 lifetime average. He's hit 4 of his 12 home runs off Pirates pitchers.
Good to see him bunting then.
Yeah.
He certainly wouldn't be bunting if Gennett was at second base.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Pirates want to make sure Jeanette doesn't think about taking off for second as Gallardo looks down at Ed Cedar, the third base coach.
Yeah, and you can't dismiss that either, because you kind of want to have the bat in the hands of this guy when it comes down to cases.
1-1. No telling what Ron Renicki's going to do here with Gallardo. Still assuming bunt.
Giving you the early look and then going back. Now the bunt stands and staying with it.
And the sacrifice goes 1-3. Second out. What's a Kids Day? Finale of this 4-game series on Sunday. All kids 14 and under take home a Pirate sock monkey. That's Charlie Morton for that sock monkey, thanks to Trip Total Media. Come early for the #1 Cochran Family Fun Zone on Federal Street, and after the game, kids can run the bases thanks to Kennywood. For tickets, go to pirates.com. All kids 14 and under. Get one of those Pirate sock monkeys.
And you wonder what the conference is between Martin and Volquez now. You're wondering about a first pitch, whether you want to throw a strike, because sometimes that whole subject of first pitch strike comes down to how good your control is. If you can give up a ball one every once in a while, it can be effective. In other words, it doesn't have to be a hard and fast rule. You can come in off the plate if you feel like your confidence and your control is good.
First pitch swinging, but it's a ground ball to short. And Mercer on to first, and Volquez gives up the 1-out single, but that's it. And after 1.5 from PNC Park, the start of an 8-game homestand. Pirates lead 2-1. Weekend, they host the Blue Jackets, game 2 of the first round, and catch all the action from Consol Energy Center, starting with a special 1-hour pregame Saturday at 6 on Root Sports.
And the Pens are in the house.
They are in the house, a bunch of them, huh? Sidney Crosby there on the right. Rod Scuderi's there somewhere on the left.
Good opening game win against the Blue Jackets.
On cue there.
Hi, Ronnie. Hi, Steve. Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Hi, Sid. And Gabby Sanchez. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pirates are hosting the Penguins tonight. Gave them a sweep. In the dirt.
tee it up again Saturday against Columbus.
2-1. That game will be right here on Root Sports. By the way, the MLB Network will carry the Pirates Brewers game here.
Okay. So you got all kind of action. To win a couple for the home teams.
Yeah. Just got under that one. Way up there. Wind going to do some stuff with it. Man, you really have to concentrate tonight. Yeah, there's a big league pop-up by Gabby Sanchez. So, number 17 on the 17th pops up, and a very happy birthday wish to retired Pittsburgh City Policeman Sergeant Lou Garda on the 17th of April.
Celebrating his birthday. Happy birthday, Lou.
We're big fans of his son, Mark.
Yeah, you ought to be very proud of your son. Yep. Mark is a good guy and a good boss.
And a happy birthday wish to Gabriel Marula, right?
Yeah.
Billy's son.
30 years old. Billy's not that old, is he?
Can't
have a 30-year-old son?
No way.
Happy birthday, Gabe.
0-1 on Travis Snyder. And that's a fair ball. And Snyder is beaten to the bag by Reynolds. And Stephen, early happy birthday wish to you. I don't know if I'll see you or not tomorrow. So happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It is, seriously. We joke about these birthdays, but it really is your birthday tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah. 43 years old.
Really?
A lot of mileage. 43 years.
43. Well, it's close.
Mark, our boss, happy birthday to your dad. Looks like a buffet up there. Like a company picnic.
Here's Jordy Mercer. Strike one. You TV or radio tomorrow?
TV. Again. Yep. I'll leave the car open in case you want to drop anything off.
Nope. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Go ahead and lock the door.
All right.
All right. Mercer was 1 for 8 in the series in Milwaukee. Has done good work over the years against Gallardo, a .364 career hitter against Gallardo. And it looks like the last couple games, maybe 2-3 games, Mercer feeling a bit more comfortable at the plate, but he's in the hole 0-2. And now 1-2.
You know, we should explain. I guess we do it every 4 or 5 years. Oh, right. Harold Riley, our old engineer in Houston at the Astrodome and Minute Maid Park, no matter what you ask him, Harold, do you think the sky's going to fall today? Oh, right.
Yes, he did, says Mercer. And that's not all right. 1, 2, 3 go the Pirates. And after 2, it's 2-1 Bucks.
Dave Parker, right? I said, it's Dave Parker from the Pirates. I remember Dave Parker. He was a big guy during my time. And he's very dignified. Yes, how you doing? And I was just very happy to meet him.
It was very nice, Mike. Thanks for taking some time.
Pleasure.
Ooh,
Don't do it. Don't fumble.
There it is. All right. All right, Mike. Maybe fumble my mic. Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Rob. Yeah, the 1979 Bucks, and we do wish Dave Parker the best.
By the way, we're going to celebrate that championship team later on in the season, 79 team.
When the Orioles are in?
I believe so.
And the Pirates do have a 2-2 series in Baltimore, 2 games at the end of the month. And then Baltimore comes to Pittsburgh, a chopper over the mound, second baseman Walker, and on to first. The Orioles are in May 20th and 21st, a Tuesday and Wednesday night series. Gene Segura is retired. And 1 up and 1 down for Volquez. And here Ryan Braun greeted once again. Braun bounced back to Volquez his first time up. Hard to right. And over the head of Travis Snyder. Braun into second base with a double.
Just barely. Nice retrieval of that ball, playing the bounce, and you just kind of guess where the ball is going to bounce to you, but Travis gets it in quickly and creates the need for Braun to slide. That ball right in the middle of the zone, and Braun's that good, and just kept slicing away from Travis and carrying. It makes it interesting at second base.
Braun doubles off the wall and right. Suspended last year, acknowledging what he had done in the past, he said. That after a number of denials.
Yeah, and that's like you said earlier. I think that's one of the things that really remains with people that vehemently denied it, like he was, just unjustly accused, and then it comes out that it's true, and so.
Well, after 2011, of course, he had tested positive for elevated levels of testosterone, but he appealed the suspension and succeeded.
But then he couldn't leave it alone.
And then baseball went back and through the biogenesis investigations last year, his name came up and he admitted to using PEDs. Cost him about $3.5 million last year, but still under contract for $117 million through the 2020 season.
There won't be any tag sales for him.
Ramirez. As Alvarez looks Braun back. That's a big out there for Volquez. Ramirez lined a single to center field, bringing home Gomez with the first run in the first inning. So Edinson Volquez, after a little bit of a shaky first inning, a couple of hard hit balls against him, has gotten 2 outs here in the third, following the 1-out double by Braun off the wall and right. And here is Jonathan Lucroy. Well, Volquez himself was suspended a few years ago, 50 games back then, while he was with the Reds. Ball 1 on Lucroy, but they are trying their darndest to clean up the game. 1 ball, no strikes. Volquez was suspended April 20th, 2010.
That was, what, 2 years after he won the 17 games?
Yeah. He was able to serve that while he continued to rehab after the Tommy John surgery. He said that he had received a prescription in the Dominican as part of his treatment to start a family with his wife. That drug had been banned by Major League Baseball, and Volquez came out later, said he was embarrassed, apologized to his family, his friends, his teammates, fans. 2 balls, no strikes, the count on Lucroy. And that's hit hard. And that'll tie the game. Jonathan Lucroy. And even when Braun scores, he hears it as he crosses the plate. He's a underrated catcher, Jonathan Lucroy.
Yeah, and that ball, according to the grid, right on the inside corner, but he put a good swing on that. It wasn't like a ball that got far enough inside to tie him up. Sometimes to be effective inside, you've got to come in off the strike zone because guys can clear those hands, get them inside far enough so the good part of the bat is still making contact. Almost kind of getting your hands out of the way. Sounds funny, but that's what they do. They get inside, the hands get out of the way, and the bat can come through.
Chris Davis bounced out to Alvarez in the first. And it's 0-2 on Chris Davis. You know, Volquez, if you look at his numbers last year with the Padres, just awful. But the Dodgers picked him up. It was only 6 games, but still a 4.18 ERA. And 2 years ago with San Diego, ERA of 4.14, 183 innings, 11-11 his record. Just past Volquez and just to the left of the second baseman, Neil Walker. It was over toward the second base bag. So Davis hit it in the right place.
And regardless of that shift, that ball was going to be up the middle anyway if they're playing a traditional configuration. Right there, once it gets back to pitcher, that ball is hit hard enough. Neil Walker, if he's playing straight away, is not going to get that ball.
Volquez just misses it.
Right there and not down quite quickly enough.
There's the 6th hit for Milwaukee, and it brings out pitching coach Ray Searage for the first time tonight. Talking with Edinson Volquez, who was signed out of the Dominican by the Texas Rangers. Spent parts of 3 years with the big league club, 2005 through 2007, and then traded to the Reds over the winter for Josh Hamilton. 4 years with the Reds, and the Reds then dealt him before the 2012 season in the trade that brought Matt Latos to Cincinnati. Padres also got Yonder Alonso and Yasmani Grandal. Mark Reynolds flied to right his first time up. Reynolds, the one-time Arizona Diamondback.
Feast or famine kind of a guy.
Yeah, for sure. Over the years, always a bunch of strikeouts, a record number of punch-outs a number of years ago for Mark Reynolds.
But he'll hit his share of balls over the fence for you.
At 44 dingers with Arizona in 2009, drove in 102. Last year was with the Indians and the Yankees. 1 ball, no strikes. Popped it up. Martin makes the catch. Mark Reynolds fouls out. Base hit by Jonathan Lucroy. Scores Braun. It's 2-2.
hours ago about former Pirate pitcher A.J. Burnett, now with the Phillies, deciding to pitch through a hernia that's going to eventually require surgery. Burnett was back on the mound today for the Phillies as they took on the Atlanta Braves, and Burnett was strong. 7 innings pitched. He allowed only 3 hits. He struck out 6 and did not allow a run. Phillies beat the Braves 1-0. No surprise, A.J. Burnett would be gutting it out. Let's go back to Greg and Steve at PNC Park. Guys?
All right, Rob, thank you. Ben Revere, the base hit that won it for the Phillies. They scored in the bottom of the 8th inning, 1-0. So A.J. Burnett did not
got
get the
something
win,
in the tank.
Yep, pitched a good ball game, and even though he's going to have surgery, that hernia at the end of the year, took a cortisone shot recently, and said he pitched better maybe because of it. Thinks it's a blessing in disguise. Under more control today.
Well, I don't think there's ever been any doubt. He's still got something in the tank. He can still pitch. He can still win in the big leagues. I mean, it's not out of character.
Volquez fouls the pitch off. Edinson Volquez leading off in a 2-2 ball game. Volquez, 0.95 career batting average. He's 11 homers short of his mound opponent. He hit one last year against Ramon Ortiz. That's the only home run in his career. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. Pitching coach Ray Searage looks like he's going over some notes with Francisco Liriano. We talked about how close Liriano and Volquez, what great friends they are, growing up 20 miles from each other in the Dominican. And line toward right, but right at Braun. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit Pirates.com for details. Starling Marte with 1 out. Marte showing bunt, takes ball 1 from Gallardo. Bucks with 2 runs on 1 hit. Brewers 2 runs, 6 hits.
So far, Volquez working hard to keep it together because you don't want to let Brewers get too far down the road with Gallardo pitching.
Again, tries to bunt, this time misses it.
Yeah, that was almost one of those attempts where he's just trying to slash the bat toward the ball downstairs at the last moment. That's tough to do. That's a very delicate piece of timing if you're going to do it that way. Be a little smoother. Hard just to drop the ball straight, or the bat straight down, and think it's going to be perfect. Most good bunters for base hits will go a little bit earlier, get your timing down. If you bunt it perfectly, you're going to get the base hit.
Strike 3 call. Number 3 for Gallardo.
Up the corner.
Gallardo gave up the 2-run homer to Andrew McCutchen after he walked Marte in the first. Russell Martin lined a ball to the warning track in center just before the McCutchen homer. Strike 1. Now ball and a strike.
Gallardo is not one of those overpowering guys. I mean, he'll throw the fastball 90, 91, 92, but he's got a variety of pitches and throws them pretty much when he wants to for strikes. If you've got 4 pitches, that's a lot to deal with. And if you throw them all pretty consistently for strikes, you're going to be pretty successful. You don't have to throw it 98 miles an hour. His control is good. Just the 3 walks in his first 3 starts this year.
Drafted in the 2nd round in 2004 by the Brewers. Made it to the big leagues 3 years later.
Career-wise, comfortably 2-1 ratio of strikeouts to walks. Very comfortably above that mark.
3-2 now.
The 1 free pass obviously cost him tonight, walking Marte before the home run.
To center.
That's better. Also, see what you do? Don't hit it so hard like you did the first time.
So a 2-out single. The 2nd hit of the night for the Pirates. The first hit, well, bringing the lumber, brought to you by Yellowwood. Andrew McCutchen's first home run of the season. He brought the lumber.
A couple of good at bats for the new number 2 hitter.
Talked about that at the outset, that Clint Hurdle moved Russell Martin out of the 5 spot to the 2 hole, and Hurdle said that even though it was spring training, it succeeded this spring offensively for Martin and the Pirates.
You know, I've always wondered if hitters think about this, Greg. He hits a home run off the fastball, next at bat. You wonder how many hitters say, I'm not going to see a fastball, I just hit a home run. It just happened in this case to be a breaking ball first pitch. But you wonder if the hitters will guess along with that. He's not going to go another fastball.
The other side, the pitcher has to be thinking.
Yeah.
He's not, there's no way he's thinking I'm going to throw a fastball here, so I'll throw a fastball here.
Exactly, and that's why it goes back and forth, and you react and you...
It's
just off.
She had called a ball, and it was called a strike.
Sometimes you just simply try to outguess each other, pitcher, hitter. I can tell you from experience, most of the time somebody hits a home run off a fastball, next time he comes up, I'm probably going to try to throw him a slider or something, just because.
And likewise, if it's off the slider, you're going to throw something other than that.
Yeah. I don't want to give him the same pitch he just hit out of the ballpark. It's just maybe a psychological thing.
Would you say that was the vast majority of the time with you?
Yeah. And then, and after the fact, 40 years later, I wonder if they were thinking along with me, knowing they were going to get something other than fastball. But I don't remember a lot of at bat to bat home run because it was the same pitch.
1-2 on McCutchen. And a late swing and a miss.
Tardy.
4 strikeouts for Gallardo through 3 innings, tied at 2.
runs tonight. Scooter Gennett getting set to lead things off here for the Milwaukee Brewers. And those two have a pretty good relationship. And it was Andrew McCutchen who told me last season at a pro athletes outreach convention in Miami is where they became pretty good friends. That was the first time they really met and had a conversation. Now, last week at Miller Park, the two got down for a pregame prayer and had a little bit of conversation during their warm-ups before the first pitch at Miller Park. Now, Gennett told me that Kutch is one of those guys that he loves to watch play and looked up to him a lot as he made his way through the minor leagues. He's the NL MVP, and it's really quite hard not to look up to Andrew McCutchen. Gennett said the way he plays the game is what drew him toward Andrew, and once he got to know him, it all made sense, doesn't it, for all of us that meet Andrew, and that he's a great guy and his faith is right, and he's a guy that really helped him along the way this past offseason leading into the season. So Gennett and McCutchen, those two right there, developing a pretty strong friendship, Greg, through the pro athletes outreach group.
And now both Florida residents, of course, Andrew McCutchen, Robbie, born in Fort Meade near Lakeland, Florida, and still makes his home down in that area. Scooter Gennett, meanwhile, was born in Cincinnati, but grew up in Sarasota at the age of 10. His parents saw some baseball skills in him, and they decided to go ahead and move out of Cincinnati down to Sarasota so he could play baseball all year round. Talk about a sacrifice.
Yeah. Well, you know, just up the street from Sarasota at IMG, that academy, I can't tell you how many families from Europe have picked up their entire family and moved with an athletic son or a daughter going to IMG and changed their whole life around, hoping that that child would become some kind of a major league athlete. I mean, that's a big deal. And some people feel very highly about it, very comfortable with it. Other people say, you know, it's kind of tricky to chase your kids around.
Line drive. Oh, catch made by Lunchbox.
Wow.
He takes a bite out of that line drive by Gallardo.
Yeah, baby.
What a commitment by Travis Snyder in right field. Getting the ball before the grass got it. Kind of almost had the glove turned the wrong way, but you're caught in the middle with, you know, the belt usually is a defining thing, where how you turn it down or keep it up. And that time it worked.
Gomez takes ball one. Travis Snyder.
That ball sinking fast, boy. You don't know whether you got time to turn the glove around and have the pocket facing up or stay with it like you did. You made the commitment and made the play.
Ball one on Carlos Gomez. 1 for 2. Could not hold his swing, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. On the Gold Glove center fielder. Gomez, the only member of the 20-40 club last year. 20 homers, 40 steals.
Nice inning for Boquez to set him down 1-2-3.
To left.
And he's going to.
Marte. That's some nice glove work behind him. Edinson Volquez retires the Brew Crew. 1-2-3. It's 2-2. Now, Pedro Alvarez hit a one-hopper to Scooter Gennett in very shallow right field. Gennett threw a one-hopper to Mark Reynolds, who held on a very close play. Bang, bang at first.
There's your alignment.
It's Gene Segura, the shortstop, over on the other side to second.
What do they call it? Global positioning?
Global positioning, yes.
There is a formal name for it, I think, other than the shift. Optimal defensive position?
Yep. Alvarez 4 for 13 with 3 homers when leading off an inning this season. Hits a fly ball to left near the pole, and it is a foul ball. Going against the wind, nearly hitting that one out the other way.
Wanted to hear Big Ben strike one. Close.
Two and two on Alvarez. 5 home runs, 10 RBIs on the young season. And toward left center field. Oh, that's a nice look there, Alvarez. And Davis does a nice job to get to it in a hurry.
I tell you, Pedro is running these bases like he's wanting more all the time. He's being aggressive. You know, he's not going to set any speed records, but that's a nice at bat. Just going down, just kind of squaring up on that ball and sending. The only direction you can really hit it with any authority. Just push it out that way and take that big turn at first base, because he's been airing it out on the base pass pretty good so far. Nice bit of hitting.
His dad was right on the money when he was playing Little League. I mean, he called him the Bull, El Toro, and because he's big man, big kid then who could run.
I bet he was a big kid.
He looks like
he had to be a terror in Little League. That has to be frustrating for a pitcher too. Gallardo makes a good pitch downstairs, and it's hard to get down and get under that ball, hit it square. You know, you got a lot of things going on. You got to get down. You got to try to keep the bat pretty level. You make kind of a pitcher's pitch, and you get burned with it. And every hitter will tell you that makes up for the balls that he should have hit, popped up.
Slow motion look at the running of the ball. The Pirates will tell you, including Clint Hurdle, Steve, that he's certainly as good as, if not the best base runner on the team.
Well, he's got a lot to carry around there, but he moves it along nicely.
You just look at him when he takes his secondary leads, those balls in the dirt. He's always ready for those so-called dirt ball reads right here. Great example of it right there. I mean, that wasn't close, but it didn't matter. That ball could have been a foot away from Lou Croy, and he'd have had second.
You know, it all comes down to being alert. You don't want to get surprised. If you get surprised, then you don't have enough time. Think about the possibilities. What can happen here? Do I just have to wait for a guy to hit a base hit for me to run, or hit the ball, put the ball in play? No, there might be other things that are possibly happening, like that.
At the very least, Walker would like to move him to third, and he'll do just that. Well done by Neil Walker. Move Alvarez 90 feet. Our final Inside Penguins hockey of the season. Crosby cruises toward his second scoring title. We bring you the never-before-seen moments from Dan and Dan's pregame segment and much more. Inside Penguins hockey, presented by Heritage Valley Health System, Saturday after Penn's postgame on Root Sports. Penguins winning last night over the Blue Jackets.
Nice comeback win.
Yeah. Now Gabby Sanchez, the infield comes in.
I was out in the car driving around last night. Heard the Dr. Lang.
I was doing the same thing.
Calling it. Yep.
The old 2-9er. Yep. Oh, and 1 on Gabby Sanchez. Sky pop up in the second inning. Russell Martin and Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen's home run ties him with Garrett Jones for second all-time in PNC Park history, 51.
Way too
You all right, Robbie?
That was a howitzer that came in, and luckily...
Howitzer?
I don't think so.
Howitzer?
Watch this.
A howitzer?
Let's get the slow-mo. Watch this. Hand out, thinking about it. Nah, let me get out of the way.
Oh, nice look. Wait till you see the Supermo look on that.
That was...
You'll be getting a lot of calls and texts in the next few moments.
I think I'm going to be hearing it here, but I got to tell you something. Steve or Greg, you want to trade seats with me and try to feel that good luck, all right?
Nope.
In this cold weather?
Nope. I don't want it in warm weather. Thank you, though.
Sounds like a recap. I don't know. Is this...
That was a howitzer, trust me.
Howitzer.
That was a hockey term.
Who's down there with you?
Howitzer.
Who's down there manning that camera down there? Is that Keith?
Our camera. We got a couple still photographers right here. I had no help here.
Keith, up or down? Thumbs up or down, howitzer? Keith, was that a bullet to... Oh, yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's a lie. That is not true.
Careful, Keith. You're going to have Ron Renicky running out to the field to challenge a call with those thumbs up, thumbs down.
Howitzer.
There you go. And Ron Renicky, his fourth year as skipper. The Brewers. Pirates try and get that go-ahead run in. And a good block by Lucroy, keeping Alvarez at third.
You've seen those little puff guns that have the little soft little things you can play with the kids?
Little Nerf ball things?
Yeah. That was it.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I thought I saw going over the third baseline there. Boy, that was like a 55-footer. You just get the body where you think the bounce is going to be, and that's exactly what Lucroy did.
2 balls, 2 strikes, infield in. Oh, Gallardo able to strike out Gabby Sanchez.
Pulled the string on him, looking for some heat, and did not get it. Off-speed pitch. Out in front, huge out. Usually those kind of situations, you'll get the information finishing the swing one-handed way out in front. You know you've committed, and it's too late.
And of course, Travis Snyder will try and do it with 2 outs.
Let's do it with the glove and the bat, Travis. Nice catch earlier off Gallardo.
Ball, 1 strike on Travis Snyder. Talked to him about how good Cueto was yesterday, Steve. And Snyder's such an honest guy. He said, well, actually, I had a couple of pitches I could have hit. I missed a changeup that was hung. But, I mean, complimented Cueto. But the point is that even a guy that pitches as good as he did yesterday, there are still times when you do have pitches to hit.
Yep. If a guy's going to be out there 9 innings, he is not going to be perfect at all. Watching the game yesterday, I was watching the grid. I mean, he was not in the strike zone, in the middle of the strike zone very often. He was on those edges.
Gallardo
And
falls behind 3-1.
The thing is with Cueto too, he's turning his body as you watch the replay of this pitch, just outside his zone. But watching Cueto turn the body like Luis Tiant, when you combine that kind of deception with good stuff, you've got a tough situation, because it's hard to follow the ball from where he's turning that body back around, and then the good stuff on top of it.
Now, will Snyder get a good pitch to hit here? No. And maybe Gallardo just being careful, maybe, with Mercer on deck. But Lucroy out to talk with him.
I don't think there's any doubt. His control is that good. He'd rather face a right-hand batter with much less experience.
Even though Mercer does have good numbers, as we said, coming in 4 for 11 against Gallardo. Sometimes those can be deceiving. It's a .364 average. But Gallardo struck him out in the second.
You know, sometimes those head-to-head numbers, too, you wonder about the situations, the type of at-bats. Is there nothing going on? Are you ahead or behind 6 runs?
Plus, did you get hits early on, and are you 0 for your last 9 or 10?
Yeah. And these kind of situations, runner on first and third, might be a little bit different approach by a pitcher when the game is out of hand.
Mercer did face Gallardo with a runner at second base, nobody out in the 3rd inning on Saturday, and singled to center field. Also struck out against him in that game on Saturday night in Milwaukee. 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Steve, if you're careful to Snyder, if that's what he was doing because you had Mercer on deck, are you careful to Mercer because you have Volquez on deck and still a base available?
I don't think so.
To right field, and Braun will make the easy catch. And the Bucks strand a couple through 4. It's 2-2.
On Root Sports is brought to you by the Chevy Cruze and your Western PA Chevy dealers. And by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go Bucks.
And what a day Automotive this day in Pirates history. On this day in 1955, Roberto Clemente makes his debut, plays both ends of a doubleheader against the Dodgers, singles in his first at bat, the first of 3,000 career hits. In that game, Clemente did not wear number 21 as a center fielder. Earl Smith already had that number, so for that day and for the first month of his career, his number was 13, not 21. And of course, the number 13 now worn proudly by Clint Hurdle. Ball 1 on Gene Segura. How about that, Steve, on this very day?
1955. Ironically, against the Dodgers, that the Pirates got him from Rule 5. I didn't even know they had the Rule 5 back in those days, but they did. And the rest is history.
Wow, close play, but Mercer gets Segura.
And there's a gentleman's name that a lot of Pirate fans won't remember, but a wonderful man from the state of Maine, Clyde Sukforth, who from Mr. Rookie was assigned to keep an eye on Roberto Clemente as the Dodgers are trying to hide him in Montreal. Clyde Sukforth, I think, might have been a coach maybe for 1 year, but just a wonderful baseball man. I spent a year with him in Columbus when he was coaching for Larry Shepard. Clyde Sukforth. Just a great man.
Ryan Braun hears it again. Strike is called. By the way, I got a note from our good buddy Baseball Joe Vogel, who reminded us this morning that your birthday is tomorrow, and today being the 59th anniversary of Clemente's first hit off Johnny Padres, who was celebrating his 40th birthday. 0-2 the count on Ryan Braun.
Johnny Padres, great Dodger pitcher.
Got Russell Martin. Braun trying to buy him a little bit of time. Fans love it.
Chased upstairs.
Volka strikes out Braun. And that is his first strikeout.
And maybe getting a little bit of a groove going. 1, 2, 3 in the fourth. Chance to face the middle part of the Brewers lineup, the tough part. And 2 up, 2 down in the fifth. This could be a nice little stretch for Edinson.
Ramos Ramirez. His single to center field brought in the game's first run in the first inning.
Got the best of him next at bat. A little easy bouncer to Pedro. So far, so good. Working his way through. Keeping the Pirates in the ball game.
Off the end of the bat. Russell Martin says, I got it. And another 1, 2, 3 inning, 7 straight set down now by Edinson Volquez. It's 2-2.
Pirates Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Barrel Automotive. We're driven to be better. And by Levin Furniture, proudly featuring solid wood American-made Amish furniture. For furniture that lasts, shop Levin. Let's go Bucks!
Still 2-2 on a cool evening in Pittsburgh. First of 4 with the Milwaukee Brewers. Pirates looking for some payback here after the Brewers swept the Bucks last weekend.
Nice to have that little clinic on how to work the various grips on the baseball by those fans.
Volquez takes the ball. By the way, that series sweep by the Brewers against the Pirates last weekend was the 15th time the Brewers have swept the Pirates since 2007. It's the most series sweeps of 3 games over any opponent over that stretch over the last 7 years. But things have certainly gotten better, because we know that really tough stretch the Pirates had, especially in Milwaukee, but even overall, Pirates struggled mightily against the Brewers. Started to turn things around last year. Won 7 of 10 played here at PNC Park over Milwaukee. Ball popped up toward the seats. And did he hold on? Mark Reynolds. Yes, he did. Heck of a play by Mark Reynolds. Into the seats.
Reaching in amongst them. So most of the action was after he caught the ball, but who's going to get the ball? I'll take the black glove. Yep.
Great shot.
Call the cops. I was robbed.
Third baseman Mark Reynolds converted over to first base. Edinson Volquez chatting there with Andrew McCutchen. Starling Marte has walked and struck out.
I think we needed Iron Mike Tyson sitting over there with one of his gloves, and take Reynolds out, and then you continue the at bat.
That would do it. Marte appeal, and first base umpire Sean Barber said no swing.
Well, it's good to have you guys back, Greg, but we haven't changed the weather much.
Well, today was nice.
Yeah, but we didn't play today.
Well, this isn't terrible. It's
no,
cool.
no. This is not
not
as extreme as some of those early games, the first homestand.
Yeah. That's popped up. And Jeanette is there to make the catch. Well, coming up on Saturday night, after the 7:05 game, Zambelli Fireworks Show presented by FedEx Ground. Plus, everybody's a winner. It's an Eaton Park Scratch and Win Saturday. For tickets, go to Pirates.com for Game 3 of this 4-game series. The Pirates and the Milwaukee Brewers. It'll be Matt Garza on the hill for the Brewers against Wandy Rodriguez. Russell Martin 1 for 2. First at bat. Line one to the warning track that Carlos Gomez was able to track down. 2 outs, nobody on. 1-1 on Martin. Gallardo looks to improve to 3-0. And this is 4th start of the season. Been a very reliable starter over the years for the Brewers.
Well, no matter what happens the rest of the time, his ERA will go up tonight. Started at 0.96.
12-10 last year, 4.18 ERA in 31 starts. Rick Kranitz in the dugout, their pitching coach.
Did you talk about those years prior to last year? 16 wins, 17, 14, 13. You were right, you said remarkably consistent.
83 career wins. That's 6th on the all-time franchise list. Jim Slayton, the all-time leader in wins, 117. Mike Caldwell, 102 wins. Teddy Higuera won 94. Moose Haas, 91. And Ben Sheets, 86. So Gallardo 3 wins shy of Sheets. And again, he is 11-4 in his career against Pittsburgh.
And he's a guy that moves around the mound like he's in control of his ball games. I mean, I'm sure there's been times he's been knocked around, but you don't see any panic in him. He just, all right, give me another baseball. We'll just keep going, because I'm in the 5th inning and I've still got my ball club in the ball game.
Only allowed 3 hits. Loves pitching here. 9 previous games at PNC Park, a 189 earned run average for Giovanni Gallardo.
Somebody's got to knock these Brewers off their unbeaten streak on the road.
Full count.
They went right into the teeth of the world champs and promptly swept them in Fenway Park, part of their 6-0 road record.
They head back home after this 4-game series. And ball 4. Oh, Russell Martin draws a free pass.
And we were talking about working around people. I don't think you worked around Russell to get to Andrew McCutchen. That was an interesting subject when we talked about, you know, when we got down to Mercer, was he being careful with Mercer because he knew how the Volca was going up. You know, eventually you can't be scared of everybody or can't work around everybody, and you hate to give in and think you're not good enough, and you'd like to have the pitcher leading off. So a lot of factors go into those conversations about working around people. And some good pitchers just flat refuse to work around anybody. They'll tell their manager they're going to, but then they won't.
Fly ball to right, Ryan Braun underneath it. Makes the catch. 5 complete. Still tied at 2. Shots from the Allegheny Health Network Supermo. And there's a super finish right there. Oliver Onion.
About time Oliver won.
Is that his first win of the year?
I don't know, close to it. He didn't have many in the first homestand. Good to see him off to a good start.
Jonathan Lucroy. Lines this to left. Lucroy's second hit and on base for the third straight time.
Swing at the first pitch.
Lucroy now with 4 hits in 9 at-bats against the Pirates in the first 4 games of the season series. Talked at the outset about an aggressive offense. These Brewers pitches per plate appearance, they are last in the majors, so they don't waste any time and they don't swing and miss a lot. Plate appearances per walk, 28th out of the 30 teams. They're up there hacking. Chris Davis has bounced into a force play and singled. 7 hits now for the Brewers. It's a ball.
Checking down with third base coach Ed Cedar. Wondering if they might put Lucroy in motion instead of a double play.
Runner does go. Swing and a miss. Martin's throw right there. Lucroy caught stealing as Davis came up empty.
You give Russell Martin a chance, and this is what you get. Because there's nothing he can do if the pitcher doesn't give him a chance. But boy, you know, remarkably consistent too. Even when they give him a chance, you know, his throws are always good. You know, if you don't make a good throw, you don't get him. If the throw's too high or too wide, you know, they can give you a chance, Russell, but you do it. You get it done when you get the opportunity.
Caught stealing goes 2-4 as Davis missed on that hit and run. Hits this high in the air and deep to left center field, but that wind is bringing that ball back.
Thank you, Mr. Wind. Talk to him, please, Mr. Wind. That ball's out of here. And on a normal night, it really is. It was stung.
Just another thing that makes this ballpark so unique. It depends on the wind, the time of year. The ball plays differently.
And it gives you a little perspective on how hard Andrew McCutchen hit it in the bottom of the first inning.
Chris Davis is back shaking his head in that dugout. 2 outs. And Mark Reynolds at the plate. Takes ball 1.
For you oldies fans, that was Tommy Edwards' song.
I was going to ask you.
Tommy Edwards, talk to her, please, Mr. Son, and all that stuff. We had to talk to him about the wind. Changes everything around. You get the leadoff base hit, you throw the runner out. It's just a shot in the arm for everybody. So thank you once again, Russell Martin. You know, I would have to think a lot of it's patience. And that sounds funny, that ball foul for a catcher. Knowing he's going to have a chance, not to rush it, not to panic, knowing he can set himself and make a strong throw.
And he knows
it
who the
seems
runners
so
are,
easy
too.
to get excited.
I mean, he knows.
He knows the runners.
Yeah,
he
Lucroy
knows,
was running, but you're right, Steve.
It's controlled aggression, I guess. But anytime you rush yourself, even though you got an easy play, you set up all kind of possibilities for failure. So it's smooth. Take your time, do what you do, have confidence in the fact that you have time and that your pitcher can throw a pitch like that, too.
Strikes out Mark Reynolds. 5.5 played. And still knotted up at 2-all. The most enjoyable plays in baseball to watch. So unique, so unusual, so rare.
If you think the double play is a pitcher's best friend, what about a triple play?
Yeah. Pirates last turned one, by the way, in 1993 in Cincinnati. In 2009. In 2009, they turned a triple play, which was their first triple play since the 93 season. Edwin Encarnacion lined a ball to Jack Wilson. Brandon Phillips and Jay Bruce were running on the pitch. And now Pedro Alvarez with a couple of strikes on him. Two and two. Alvarez, Walker, Gabby Sanchez here against Gallardo as the Brewers try to win their 7th straight game on the road. The longest road winning streak to start a season since 2003. The Giants that year won 8 straight on the road to start the season. This ball is hit hard again, but foul into the seats.
And the Pirates trying to get back to even. Coming in 7 and 8. Didn't have a chance to see when we got started tonight that the Pirates remarkably similar figures to the first 15 games they played last year. That all went pretty well. The dust settled. See if we can coax a 4th walk out of Gallardo. A lot of character for him.
Told you about the career numbers for Gallardo at PNC Park. Allowing 3 earned runs or fewer the start of his career. 8 times, 8 games. 3 earned runs or less. Alvarez 1 for 2 against him tonight. Here's the 100th pitch of the night for Gallardo, and it's ball 4. A nice at bat there for Alvarez. 3 very solid plate appearances. This week's Inside Pirates Baseball, Bucks weigh in on the future of Gregory Polanco. Andrew McCutchen shares a special moment with Jack Wilson and Barry Bonds on opening day. Much more Inside Pirates Baseball presented by Allegheny Health Network tonight after postgame on Root Sports.
And nothing not to like about the start of the season for Gregory Polanco. He's tearing it up at Indianapolis.
His first 2 at-bats tonight, he had 2 hits. Runner goes, line drive, foul. Alvarez took off.
But, just hitless for the first time last night for Polanco, I think, for the start of the season. Just a little bit out in front for Neal. They yanked it foul.
Away. 1 ball, 1 strike the count now. Neil Walker, as Gallardo has walked 4 in the game.
Now not much happening. Walker with a long look to Nick Leyva.
Alvarez took off on the first pitch. And he might have been leaning.
The Brewers wondering also. Alvarez amping up his running game. Where's that base? There it is. That's when you really slow it down. You can see his hand searching for the bag. That is a super mow.
to the Allegheny Health Network Supermo. We're going to get a chance to see Alvarez dive back into the bag. 1 ball, 1 strike to count on Neil Walker. The Brewers are thinking Alvarez wants to go again. 1-2.
Again, I watch Gallardo. I always think he's throwing harder than he is. Now that ball clocked at 94 miles an hour in the stadium gun, and looked like Neil was a little bit behind it. But again, just that old subject comes up: how quickly the ball gets on you at 98 or 90 or 85. So you can be behind on any of those speeds.
In the air to left, Chris Davis will be there. And that's the first out of this 6th inning. Gallardo, after walking Alvarez, gets Walker to fly out. Gabby Sanchez popped up in the 2nd inning, but Gallardo got his biggest out of the game so far when he struck out Gabby Sanchez with the infield in the 4th inning. Alvarez was at 3rd, 1 out, and he was able to strike out Gabby Sanchez for the big 2nd out of the 4th.
And to go ahead a little bit further on, Gallardo scheduled to bat 2nd in the 7th inning, and that pitch count is up pretty good.
With that in mind, a right-hander, Rob Wooten, is loosening in the bullpen for Milwaukee.
Not too far away from having this game turned over to the bullpens.
Last year, a 3-team race in the Central. Cardinals winning the division. Pirates came in 2nd. Reds came in 3rd. Brewers a distant 4th. But as Clint Hurdle said before the game, this club is now healthy, talking about the Brewers. Plus, they've added a couple of starting pitchers.
They're going to be involved.
Toward right. Braun over. Out of play. Doesn't get any easier for the Pirates, by the way, tomorrow night with Kyle Loesch on the hill. We talked about the good numbers for Gallardo against the Pirates. How about Loesch? 10-2 in 21 career games against Pittsburgh. He's gone 10 consecutive starts without a loss against the Bucks. Loesch against Charlie Morton. There's Loesch.
Well, we had him early, though, didn't we? 0-2.
Yeah.
Now he's 10-2.
And now it's 1 ball and 2 strikes on Gabby Sanchez. How about, Steve, some of the things, they keep track of everything. Most consecutive games started at Pittsburgh, allowing 3 or fewer runs to start a major league career since 1914. Only 4 other pitchers have more consecutive starts like Gallardo's as he strikes out Gabby Sanchez. We mentioned Gallardo, 8 consecutive starts, but Bert Hooton, Sandy Koufax, Charles Hudson, and Mario Soto at the top of the list. Bert Hooton went 13 straight games to start his career, allowing 3 or fewer runs in Pittsburgh. Sandy Koufax, starting in July of 1955, 11 consecutive starts to begin his career in Pittsburgh at Forbes Field. 3 or fewer runs.
1955. Weren't we just talking about
that
when Mr.
right.
Clemente starting?
Ball 1 on Travis Snyder. He's grounded out and walked. Dirt. Vincent Volquez, looks like he is done for the night if it gets down to his spot in the order. He's in the hole, as they say. Jordy Mercer is on deck. And 2-1. And Pirates bullpen. Tony Watson, Brian Morris.
Familiar figures around this time of Pirate games.
Strike 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. A 2-2 game. Right on the edge.
A backdoor breaking ball you think is going to stay outside, and all of a sudden it ducks on over and picks up the corner. Very effective pitch.
And it's 3-2. Well, if Snyder could find a gap, Alvarez will be off on the pitch. Gap shot could bring home the big man. But Gallardo has once again been stingy, allowing just 3 hits, though he's walked 4. And a dribbler on the first for the final out. Gallardo has gone 6. Still 2-2.
Carla, in partnership with Root Sports, announced a return of the Wins for Kids fundraising campaign for 2014. This is the 4th season for the program, which is focused on raising funds for Pirates charities and the Children's Institute of Pittsburgh Center for Prader-Willi syndrome. Now, here's how it works. Donors who contribute a minimum of $30 get a Clint Hurdle autographed baseball. 100 or more get your Hurdle ball plus 2 tickets to an upcoming home game on a Monday to Thursday. And 500 or more get you the ball, 2 tickets, and an autographed bat from a current player or coach. Now, this is all subject to availability. Visit pirates.com/win4kids if you want more. And Greg, Hurdle has said, he said today, when I asked him about the program, he said the biggest thing is they've been able to continually raise awareness for families that deal with children with Prader-Willi and adults that have Prader-Willi syndrome. The biggest thing he's proud of is that families have contacted him over the last couple years and thanked him for the awareness that he's raised for families who deal with this. He said there's a lot of challenges in dealing with a special needs child, and Clint obviously knows that his 10-year-old daughter is suffering from Prader-Willi, but he's been very thankful for the impact that it's made, not only for the kids, but also for the families in dealing with children that have this.
Well, he
very strong.
Yeah, it is very strong, and You ever seen that guy out there with kids with special needs? Nobody does it better. I mean, nobody touches people like Clint Hurdle does. He treats everybody with great respect, but I mean, he just has a special connection with these kids. And Steve, I know you've been out there. We've done those Christmas parties at the Children's Institute, and how he talks to them is incredible.
He has a way of presenting himself, and conveying his thoughts, and conveying his emotions.
Yeah.
That comes out equaling sincerity.
Yep.
And when you've got that, you're halfway home. People know that you're sincere about it.
Logan Schaefer is batting for Gallardo. Clint Hurdle, the national spokesperson for Prader-Willi. The genetic disorder, as Robbie mentioned, Clint's daughter Madison born with Prader-Willi.
I remember when Clint was managing the Colorado Rockies, and we talked to him, and we talked about the number of seizures per day that Maddie was suffering with and challenged with, and just
early on when I think when she was initially diagnosed with that, he was in Pittsburgh and had to leave Pittsburgh to go back out there to Colorado. Logan Schaefer batting for Gallardo after the base hit by Scooter Gennett. Bunted foul. And now 1-2. Now it's a matter of what does the manager feel comfortable with here? Very good bunters, position players. Maybe half the time, maybe a little bit more, they keep the bunt on.
I'm guessing that they're going to still try the bunt. You know, this game, there's just not been much offense at all. One run is huge as we play in the 7th inning, but it's a guess.
1-2. Pirates still thinking bunt as Alvarez creeps in, and he does square, pulls back, takes a ball. Schaefer with one sacrifice bunt so far early going. Carlos Gomez on deck. And managers can change it depending on the count. Doesn't mean the bunt is absolutely still on here.
So you always check with the coach. After every pitch, it can change.
Squares, and he bunts it foul.
Thank you very much.
Strikeout. The third for Volquez. That is so frustrating for a manager.
That's a big
pinch hit. He's using a bat. He's using the only left-handed stick. He does have a switch hitter, Elian Herrera. And Lyle Overbay is on paternity leave, the other left-handed batter. So he brings him up there. He burns a pinch hitter, and he can't get the bunt down.
And that's frustrating for them. A huge out for the Pirates. Understated. That it won't get a lot of attention, but you take a lot of the stress out of the situation for the time being because he couldn't get it done.
Carlos Gomez. Pitch out. They thought maybe after the failed bunt they might run Gennett. Steve, do you think that Volquez, or does any pitcher change his strategy in terms of when he gets a position player to 2 strikes thinking he might be bunt? You've talked often about how you used to pitch to pitchers who were trying to bunt.
Well, yeah,
2 strikes.
2-strike situation. Go way upstairs or way downstairs.
There it goes, Gennett. Taken for a ball. Might have been in the dirt. Throw down, and they got him. The sniper.
You saw 2 huge plays there. One that was the fault of the Brewers, and this one just dynamite to get a second out. That's a huge jump. Huge jump. And even though the throw is a little bit high, they're able to get him down and, yep, get the tag up on the arm.
Wow, what a play. In the dirt, backhand throw strike. Man,
yeah.
What?
And there was no time for patience on that one. He had to rush everything because of the jump. Talk about a half inning going upside down. Great work.
Russell Martin.
I didn't think they had a chance.
Fly ball to center field. Back toward right center. And Snyder. Meanwhile, that's probably it. Well, that is it for Volquez. How about it? 7 innings, 2 runs allowed by Edinson Volquez.
Keeps on going for the new right-hander.
Shots from tonight's game, and why not? A well-deserved big hug from his pitching coach, Ray Searage, who now threw 3 starts plus that 2-inning scoreless relief stint in his Pirates debut. Edinson Volquez is still very early. Eventually, though, Clint Hurdle says you got to quit saying early.
Yeah, right.
That's
a great job tonight.
It's going to come soon, I would think, but yeah, just really appreciate the job that Volquez has done. Now Rob Wooten.
Yep, just brought up last Sunday because Kinsler went on the disabled list from AAA Nashville. And so many pitchers have that criteria, or at least used to. That's a real good start. 7 innings, 2 runs or less. Boy, you are doing your job as a starting pitcher.
Now that is a quality start.
Yep, and then some.
So we'll see if the Pirates can't get
Give him a
Eddie
point.
A run.
Score a goal.
Yeah. And a line drive past Mark Reynolds. Jordy Mercer leads off the bottom of the 7th inning with a base hit to right field. Now Travis Ishikawa was on deck, but he'll sit back down. Josh Harrison will come out probably to try and bunt Mercer to second.
Let's see how our position player can do now. Slices it just past Reynolds. Playing way off the bag. Playing him very well, but the ball was just sharply hit enough where he couldn't get to it, even though it was close to him. Though the Brewers was shorting up. I don't think there's any secrets here. And try to move him over. Get that goal.
Limited action for Jay Hay so far. And he bunts it foul.
Mr. Harrison with pretty good growth there.
He says not gonna shave it anytime soon. He says his wife
told us that in spring training, didn't he?
His wife Brittany said, "Keep that." And baby Mia likes it too. 0-1 on Josh Harrison.
Do that tap of the toes with that end of the bat about 4 or 5 times between pitches.
In terms of the number of bunts this season, as he takes ball away, Pirates are tied for 9th in the National League. Number of sacrifice bunts successfully dropped down, a total of 5. By comparison, the top 2 clubs in the National League, the Giants and the Marlins, with 10. Two and one.
Josh, make him throw you a strike. Nothing wrong with first and second with no out also.
This Brewers bullpen has been tremendous, along with the starting pitching. Relievers for the Brewers lead the majors with a 1.33 ERA and a 1.79 opponent's batting average against. Concern with Mercer. Two and one on Josh Harrison. Just trying to figure out maybe. Maybe see if the bunt was still on. Time called just after that throw over to a first base. Rick Kranitz called time.
Shot out of the dugout.
I'm sorry, that was Ron Renicky shot out of the dugout. Now, what was that all about? That was Renicky. I thought that was Kranitz. That was the manager. You don't see that often.
Some about either a previous pitch or what they want, or maybe they don't want him to throw over there. Well, that's not the case because he just threw over there again. He's got a pitcher that he just bought up, 2 or 3 days ago. Some quick message.
Strike, 2-2.
Tap the toes a few times and get ready again.
Two and two. And now swinging away and driving it deep to left. Way back and gone! Jay Hay says forget about the bunt. I'll clear the deck. He sends a cannonball over the wall and left for his first hit of the year, and he gives the Buccos the lead. How do you like that, Jay Hay?
Incredible. You think you can figure this game out. Every time you think you got something going on that you understand, looks bad on 2 bunt attempts and then hits it over the fence.
He thinks he's Bob Robertson.
That's a toe tapper. So, yeah, you got limited offense, but you get yourself 2 two-run home runs, you got yourself a lead. McCutchen, now Harrison. And there's never any question about that ball in that direction. That was gone when it left that bat. And
little guy's got some punch, doesn't he?
Instant offense.
Josh Harrison.
The minute you knew it.
He fouled off the first strike. Watch Travis Snyder react. The pinch hit home run by Josh Harrison. So he fouled the first strike he saw, and then on a 2-1 pitch he took a strike. Clint Hurdle takes the bunt off, and we just talked about this, didn't we? About the position players. Some managers keep the bunt on, some take it off. Ron Renicky for Logan Schaefer kept it on. Schaefer bunted foul on 2 strikes and struck out. Hurdle takes off the bunt, and here's a swinging bunt, base hit for Marte.
not to criticize, but we got Wooten in there just in time. Just saying.
Well, maybe not as big as the home run he hit off Mike Dunn last year for the walk-off win against the Marlins. But this is a big one.
And I'll tell you, that didn't just clear the fence by a little bit. I mean, that got back in that corner.
Third career pinch hit home run. 8th career home run overall for Josh Harrison.
Now, I'm watching Marte. They got this young man that was just called up last week, back on his heels, base hit home run after bunts. When Marte ran, and they're thinking he's going to. Why not? I mean, you got something going here. I think you got this game figured out.
Go ahead and try. Go ahead and try. The home run gives Volquez and the Pirates the lead. Volquez out of the game as Harrison pinch hit for the starter.
7 innings, a couple of runs on 8 hits. He walked a batter and struck out 3. And deserves a chance for a W here.
Zach Duke, former Pirate, in the bullpen. Pirates have Pedro Alvarez now in the hole. Nobody out. 1 ball, 1 strike count on Russell Martin, who's had 3 solid plate appearances.
And I think along the same lines, why would Marte not run? Kind of in the bonus round right now. It's out to a decent lead.
There goes Marte. Got a good jump. Throw down high into center field. Marte will wind up at third base. It's his 2nd stolen base of the night. And it'll be an error on Lucroy.
And I love the bounce after he got into second base. Didn't lay there looking around. The quick bounce, 90 more feet on the doorstep. There he goes. And knows where the ball is. All young players know where the baseball is, know where the baseball is. He knows the baseball's in center field. Easy stroll into third.
Infield in. 3-1 on Russell Martin. Ball 4.
Little hesitation, little stutter step, but he gets the call.
Rob Wooten spent some time in the big leagues last year. Made his season debut on Monday against the Cardinals. He was the last roster cut of spring training, but as Steve said, Brandon Kinsler was put on the DL, so they needed somebody from AAA. They brought him up from Nashville. He had a 3.90 ERA in 27 appearances last year. And now McCutchen in the infield. He was at double play depth.
And Andrew looking for the fastball, didn't get it. Nobody out. A chance for the Pirates to really break it open.
Surprised at all, Steve, about the infield back?
Now with McCutchen up.
Ground ball, there's a double play ball. And Marte hesitated. Now he goes, and the ball gets away. And the Pirates get a run. It's 5-2.
He did hesitate at third base.
McCutchen will get the RBI. He could not turn the double play.
Watch Marte go back a step. Then when he's sure they're going to try for 2, then he takes off.
I'll tell you what, that could have been a disaster. They turn a double play and he doesn't score. And then you take a look at Russell Martin doing his part on the Allegheny Health Network Supermo, the takeout slide. And now they'll take out Rob Wooten. Starling Marte has scored a couple of runs. He's stolen a couple of bases. The Pirates now lead by 3. It's 5-2.
Cast is presented by the authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
The Pirates, the base hit by Jordy Mercer to start the inning, the 2-run homer by Josh Harrison to give the Pirates the lead, and moments ago Starling Marte scored, thankfully, on the ground ball hit by McCutchen. You know, if Jeanette, the second baseman, looks to the plate, he's got Marte dead to right. But watch this. Watch Lucroy's reaction. He's expecting the throw from Jeanette.
Yep.
He's going like, what?
Why not? He said, why didn't I get the ball?
A bit of a break there for the Bucks as they increase the lead to 5-2.
And now the Pirates get to face an old friend, Zach Duke. Signed by the Pirates 2001. 11-game winner 1 year for the Bucks. 110 a different year. Last year with Washington and Cincinnati.
Pedro Alvarez, he's had 3 solid plate appearances. Hard hit ball. His first time up, retired. Second time up, a base hit to left center, and he drew a walk in the 6th. His 10th walk drawn already this season. He didn't have 10 walks last year until May the 19th. Well ahead of that pace.
Beneficiary of some Pirate offense as the Pirates get to my favorite score. You have a favorite score?
You like
I always like
5-2?
Yeah.
Really?
It's a definitive margin,
yeah,
but you're not making the other club really look bad.
Mine's 12-2.
All right. All right.
All right.
Zach Duke with a move over to first base. You can remember back to 2005, Zach Duke got some votes for Rookie of the Year. Came up to the Pirates. Didn't start the year with the Bucks, but went a prompt 8-2. Very impressive major league debut.
Against the Brewers, he made his big league debut in Milwaukee. One ball, 2 strikes the count. And it's in Volquez's line. Looking for his first win as a Bucko. Now Mark Melanson, Pirates' 8th inning man, posting in the bullpen.
Sidearm action from Zach. Another
signed as a non-roster player.
Former Bucko, also Tom Gorzolani on the disabled list with the Brewers.
And Josh Harrison, a home run. Mercer the base hit to start the inning. Way outside. And it's 3-2 on Alvarez. Three balls, 2 strikes, 1 out.
Fans here on a Thursday night want to see Pedro hit it over the fence. Chant going.
Runner goes, ball 4. 2 walks on the night for Alvarez. And 11 so far on the young season. And now Neil Walker will bat right-handed. And of course, last year he heard a lot of people suggesting that he might want to think about batting exclusively from the left side and abandon the switch hitting. Well, Clint Hurdle kind of chuckled at that recently, especially when Walker homered as a right-handed hitter on the road trip. And early on, Walker doing pretty good work. 3 for 8 as a right-handed batter. Homered off lefty Manny Parra on Tuesday night. Neil Walker, it was his 5th career home run off a lefty. Lefty Francisco Liriano with bat in hand. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Another board starter.
And the runners break. And Alvarez will be out at second base. We may look at that. Alvarez going to stand there at second and wait. He thinks he got under that tag. And here comes Clint Hurdle. McCutchen took off for third. Alvarez for second. And Lucroy threw down to second. The initial out call, Jeff Bannister is on the phone.
This is like the Romans in the Coliseum. He gives him a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Take another look.
I think he's got a good case.
Bannister gave him the thumbs up, so he is going to challenge this. There it is.
Well, Lucroy had to take the slower guy and take his chances at second base.
And this makes sense. Anytime it's this close and it could go your way, you're going to go ahead and challenge, especially this late in a ball game and what could be such an important call. So, Fielding Colbrith, the crew chief. Well, the Pirates have done a good thing. This is the first time I've heard a team do this where the public address announcer, in this case Tim DeBacco, at least lets the crowd know what's going on. Tells them that the Pirates are challenging the call. Now, we don't have all the looks they have in New York, the command center, but these are a couple that we do have. And does Alvarez get that foot in there? The fans are seeing the replay from that replay, which looks like Alvarez got in there. Here's the look that they just saw. And now they're yelling safe, safe, safe.
I like that look better than the one from Mbacco.
What would your call be?
I'd be safe. I'd call him safe. Why don't they call me?
That's a great idea. Why don't they call you? We should bring like.
I could have it. See, now it takes time. See, there's a shot from him back. I think we got a better shot from home plate, looking out toward the outfield.
Well, the fans are watching a different replay angle on the scoreboard.
Well, they're going to cheer anything.
Yeah, but we need to have a red phone here for you.
Look at all the time I could save me. Safe.
Yep. Checking out again back in New York with the command center, looking at all the different angles. They're trying to be as quick as they possibly can. The thing about it is it's also supposed to be clear and convincing. Is this definitive in your mind, Steve?
No,
I don't know.
The other one is.
Really?
Yep.
Second base umpire Jim Reynolds. Alvarez now back in the dugout waiting. Field and Colbert and Jim Reynolds on the headsets with the command center in New York. And looks like they've got the answer. Reynolds about to take off the headset, as is Colbert. And what have we here? We have an out call. And you really can't blame them. It has to be clear and convincing.
Just like football, right?
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Doing it just like the football, folks.
So that goes as a caught stealing. Another look.
I really thought they tagged him high and the foot was in.
So the call stands. 2-4 caught stealing, and now 2 outs. And a 2-1 count on Walker. And ball 3. So Alvarez is 2 for 3 in stolen bases so far this season. There's a strike. McCutchen at third. On the fielder's choice. Strike 3 called. The Pirates get 3. The 2-run homer by Harrison. And the RBI ground out by McCutchen. Josh Harrison was not able to get the bunt down, but he got the ball out. A 2-strike pitch from Rob Wooten. Buccos celebrate. Lead it 5-2. Is some t-shirts from Josh Gardner. Look at all the ones he's got lined up. That means you know he'll be there Friday night, tomorrow night, where the first 25,000 fans will take home a Jason Grilli t-shirt thanks to Coca-Cola. For tickets and to see all this year's t-shirt designs, go to pirates.com/free shirt Friday. The cheese, Jason Grilli, showing the t-shirt that first 25,000 fans receive tomorrow night. The grilled cheese might be in this ball game in the 9th inning.
Well, for now, it's Mark Melancon coming out to make his 8th appearance. 0-1, 2.57 ERA, 7 innings, 6 hits. He's walked a batter and struck out 4. Pirates looking for 6 outs. And they'll go through the heart of the Brewers lineup here in the top of the 8th.
Gene Segura. Segura sacrificed in the first inning and grounded out his last 2 times up against Edinson Volquez. Down on strikes he goes. Check out the Nissan road ahead for the Pirates. Tomorrow, we mentioned Kyle Loesch on the mound. And for the Pirates, Charlie Morton and Matt Garza will oppose Wandy Rodriguez, both pitchers looking for their first wins. Marco Estrada against Garrett Cole on Sunday. Nissan road ahead. There's Kyle Loesch. And so tough over the years against the Pirates. Braun. Ryan Braun fouls this one out of play. The Brewers scored a run on 3 hits against Mark Melancon in the bottom of the 8th inning Saturday night to take a 3-2 lead. Braun singled off of Melancon. 2 more singles back-to-back followed, and the Brewers had the lead, and then a 3-2 win. That pitch does not miss by a lot.
Talking about that road ahead, not all that common to have a 4-game series followed by a 4-game series. So we're going to see a lot of the Brewers and a lot of the Reds.
And a fly ball to shallow center for out number 2. Hey, we're going down right now to tonight's starter, Edinson Volquez. He's done it again. Congratulations, Edinson. No win yet, but sure looking good. And well, you're feeling good, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. You know, it's on the way. The win's on the way.
Now, after the first inning, it seemed like you got yourself together. And was there anything that really clicked in for you?
I just want to keep the ball down, you know, stay down. You know, make a lot of good pitches. And, you know, especially get a single by Gomez. And it was available to throw another pitch, good pitch, you know, and get out of the inning.
Are you concerned about them swinging at the first pitch a lot, Edinson?
Yeah, I just have to execute the pitch, you know, stay down. Yeah, he's a great hitter, so, you know, he got me twice.
Edinson, how important has Ray Searage been to you and Francisco Liriano, your buddy?
We're pretty close, man. We're pretty tight, and, you know, we're talking a lot about baseball, and we know each other for a long time, so we got a great idea what we're going to do, what we're trying to do the whole season long. So
Ray Searage has been big for you also?
Yeah, he's the man. He know how to fix guys, and you know he's a great man. You know, I think most of the guys here, you know, love it, and I think everybody love it. He's the man.
Well, Edinson, everybody's starting to love you. Thank you, and welcome to Pittsburgh.
Edinson. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Edinson Volquez did it again tonight. 7 innings, 2 runs. There's a fly ball to left.
Tighty.
And yes, Mark Melancon, 1, 2, 3, and out. He retires Segura, Braun, and Ramirez. Go to the bottom of the 8th inning. 5-2 Pittsburgh. They host the Blue Jackets, game 2 of the first round, and catch all the action from Consol Energy Center, starting with a special 1-hour pregame Saturday at 6 on Root Sports. Good luck to the Pens. And for the Pirates, 3 outs away from snapping the Brewers' 6-game road winning streak and setting the tone for this 8-game homestand. And getting Volquez a W, but work to be done and trying to add on against one-time property of the Pirates, Wei-Chung Wang. He was taken in the Rule 5 draft over the winter by the Milwaukee Brewers, and even though he hasn't pitched in but 1 game and 1 inning, the Brewers love his arm, and there had been talk that he might, and he could still stay the whole year. A Rule 5 player has to, or else be sent essentially through waivers so any other club could pick him up. But Tom Gorzolani, Steve mentioned, is on the disabled list, and when Gorzolani comes back, well, original thought was that Wong might be therefore offered back to the Pirates. We'll see. Bucks would love to have him back.
Last year with what, the Gulf Coast League Pirates?
Gulf Coast League.
There he is in the big leagues.
Mark Melancon, a 1-2-3-8. 21-year-old Wei-Chung Wang facing Gabby Sanchez. Toward left. Deep. El Kabong. Big Ben does strike 1. Gabby Sanchez hits his 3rd.
Off the post is all right for the Pirates. Not so good for the Pens, but okay for the Bucks.
Gabby Sanchez taking advantage. Back in that starting lineup now every day. And they go through the Daniel Bryan yes, yes, yes dance. Gabby Sanchez, a big-time wrestling fan. And here's Travis Snyder now against the lefty. It's this ball the other way toward foul territory and out of play.
Overall offense struggling a little bit, but nothing wrong with the Pirates' long ball early in the season. Love that sound when the Pirates are hit.
It's a foul ball. It's a fair ball. It's the foul pole. It's a fair ball. 0-1 the count. Snyder hits this one high in the air to center field. Back is Gomez. And now anything in the air they're getting excited about. And Steve, the wind has not been much help. We talked about that early.
It has not.
Gives you an idea of the strength of Gabby Sanchez.
Turned it back around. That ball on the outside corner just yanked it down the left field line. As they say, turned it around.
That's a good distance up that pole. And now Jordy Mercer.
Well, left field Looney's got to be loving that.
Six-2 Pirates. Mercer started last inning with that base hit to right field off the righty Rob Wooten. Now it's Brian Morris, now that the save is no longer in order, now that the Pirates have a 4-run lead. Clint Hurdle will rest Jason Grilli. Let Brian Morris try and get 3 outs. Gabby Sanchez with his 3rd home run. Keep in mind, just 27 at bats now for Gabby Sanchez. Those 3 homers. 6th start of the season for Gabby Sanchez. And Jordy Mercer has his 2nd hit.
Yeah, a little kind of a hesitation swing and finding the hold between the shortstop and second base. A late decision to take a swing at it. Comes up with a base hit.
Well, the Pirates have been using the long ball as a weapon, and certainly one of the all-time great home run hitters, Ralph Kiner, who led Major League Baseball in homers for 7 straight years, all the while hanging out with Hollywood bigwigs and dating Major League starlets. Celebrate the career and life of Ralph Kiner. A special Inside Pirates Baseball Tuesday after postgame on Root Sports. Pirates, in honor of Ralph Kiner, who passed away before the start of the season, wearing that number 4 patch all year long.
Great to have his son in town for those ceremonies.
About the ceremonial first pitch, opening day. Tabata, pinch hitting. Bit of a scare in the game yesterday when he made a sensational catch. Momentum carried him into the wall in Cincinnati. He got up wobbly, a bit dazed, helped off the field, but after the game felt much better. And so he's cleared to play. Fastball misses. 1 ball and 1 strike on Tabata. Now 2-1. Tabata bats for Mark Melancon. Pirates have homered 17 times now in their last 9 games, after they hit a total of 4 in their first 7 games. Pirates now with 21 home runs. The Atlanta Braves came in with 21 home runs to lead the league. Now, boy, Tabata puts a charge into one into right center field. Jose Tabata nearly homers. Rips one off the right center field wall. Into second base he goes with a pinch hit RBI double. Pirates up 7-2.
And the Pirates taking advantage of the inexperience of Wong. Youngster is getting a taste of big league life. And that ball did not miss much, as you said, of getting out of here to a big part of the ballpark. Right over the 375 sign.
Tabata gave a little Sammy Sosa hop.
And to the left.
He thought it was gone, and it almost was.
Yep, to the left,
yep.
another yard. It sneaks into that little corner.
Yep. 7 runs, 9 hits for the Pirates. And now Marte
wants to join the party.
And nobody up in their bullpen, so Ron Renicky hoping that Wong can get the last 2 outs and basically call it a night. Pirates leading by 5. Towards center field, he had the big full swing, and that ball's going to drop in there. Jose Tabata, a base hit to center. He's on base for the 3rd time. And the Pirates now with 10 hits. And now they're going to check out Wei Chung Wong. Rick Kranitz bringing out an interpreter, the Taiwanese left-hander, Wei Chung Wong. First pro season last year. He was coming back from Tommy John surgery on his pitching elbow in 2012, so he did not pitch 2 years ago.
He's 21 years old.
And a Rule 5 draft pickup. Pirates could end up getting Wong back. Rule 5 guy has to stay in the big leagues all year long. Also Martin takes ball 1.
And
Rick Kranitz went out there and said, this is it. This is yours.
yeah, that's right. Tag, you're it. It's, not to say anything critical about this young man, but I don't care who it is to get the Pirate bats going. This is the big leagues.
And there's a base hit.
There we go. Buck's having some fun now.
So that, the 4th straight time that Martin has reached. And Pirates indeed having some fun as Martin rips one to left to bring home Tabata. An 8-2 Bucco lead.
And now you're working your way through this major league inning as a youngster, and you get Andrew McCutchen to step in there.
McCutchen homered in the 1st inning, his first of the season. It gave the Pirates a 2-1 lead. Ball 1. Gallardo struck him out to end the 3rd inning and got him to fly out to end the 5th. He hit a hard ground ball in the 7th to the shortstop Gene Segura with runners at 1st and 3rd. And Marte at 3rd base scored on the fielder's choice. So 8 runs, 11 hits for the Pirates, 2 runs, 8 hits for the Milwaukee Brewers. Gabby Sanchez homered to start this inning. And popped him up. Foul territory. Lucroy with some room makes the catch. 2 down in the inning. And now the lefty will face Pedro Alvarez. Alvarez has had a solid night. Oh, look at that. The red cape, Steve.
Oh, boy. And the bull sees red.
Yes.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Walked the last 2 times. His second at bat, he singled into left center. This ball out of play off to the left.
That's not the last time you'll see that red flag.
Oh, yeah.
I can see
a giveaway day.
Oh, that's exactly what I was thinking. Red Bull flag night.
Yeah. They got the sponsor and everything.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's 0-2, 94.
Come on out, we'll give you a Red Bull flag.
Yeah. And again, fouled out of play. Count remains 0-2.
Well, regardless, there's a live arm there.
Yeah.
This guy's not the biggest guy in the world, 21 years of age, but throws at 93, 94 miles an hour. Certainly an arm worth looking at.
Ball and 2 strikes on Alvarez. Bucks with 11 hits, 2 for Starling Marte, Russell Martin, Jordy Mercer, 2 hits each. That's hit hard to left field. Way back. Clear the deck. Cannonball coming the other way. The ball rips one over the left field wall. It's a 3-run bomb.
Open the gates.
Number 6 on the year for Alvarez. The 3rd of the night for the Pirates.
Tonight you cannot favor the Matador over the Bull.
11-2. Now the rest of the crowd getting into the yes, yes, yes chants that the Pirates cheer in their dugout. Watch Alvarez. The Bull sees red.
Locked into contact. Again, opposite field, big part of the ballpark against the wind. That's strength. Upstairs, the eyes get big, the bat goes up, the ball flies. That's why they like to swing at those high fastballs. Every once in a while you get that result.
This is already the 3rd game of the season, playing game number 16, where the Pirates have had 4 or more home runs in a ball game. Last year they had a total of 5 games in which they hit 4 or more homers, and already 3 through the season's first 16 ball games.
And when you get that many home runs, you get pretty efficient offense. 11 runs on 12 hits. 12 hits give you 11 runs.
Neil Walker hits that ground ball. Segura makes Mark Reynolds fight for the pick. Meanwhile, Gabby Sanchez started the inning off with the home run. Off the pole, 11-2 Pittsburgh. Six-run 8th inning to put this game away. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Well, Greg, you're getting your wish for your favorite score. Just about, almost 11-2. Folks enjoying the evening. Pirates have warmed it up with a lot of offense. Again, 11 runs on 12 hits. tidy, efficient work, and they're looking for 3 more outs, and they're looking for those 3 outs from Brian Morris to come in, get it done. Appearance number 6 for Brian. He's 2-0 with a 1.50 ERA. Take a look at the numbers so far. Really liking the no walks, 7 strikeouts in 6 innings. Liking that a lot.
Is this Brian Morris out there now?
Oh.
Or is that Bubba Watson? Oh, it is Brian Morris.
Bubba Watson.
Yeah.
They had a pretty good weekend,
Yeah,
didn't
he
they?
did. Well, he said his teammates are starting to call him Bubba Watson. He said it was when he had longer hair not too long ago and he wore a golf cap, he'd get that a lot.
Well, how about Andy Kaufman? Bubba Watson.
Yeah, he never got that, but he got Bubba Watson. Line to right.
Stay up.
Snyder going to do it again. This time he'll go into the slide.
Nice work in right field.
One down. And a great catch in the 4th inning.
Just out there playing in the grass.
Chris Davis, 1 of the 8 hits off of Volquez. .96, 0-2, and Brian Morris is just thrilled to be pitching on dry land after what he went through in Cincinnati. I don't know if you got a chance to see that game that was suspended, Steve, but Morris probably had to pitch in the worst conditions. It was just before they had finally stopped the game. It was starting to just pour, and there were puddles everywhere. You couldn't get any footing on the mound.
I was watching Pedro Alvarez as he made a play from 3rd base, and it looks like he was on an island.
Yeah.
Welcome back home, Buccos.
Yeah.
We're not going to play any more road games. Just going to stay home.
That's a deal.
Andrew got it started with that home run. Pedro has put a lid on it, so to speak. A lot of people involved. Dozen hits for the Bucs as they break out the bats. Morris looking rather tidy.
Bounce to Alvarez on the backhand and raise it. Raise the Jolly Roger. The Buccos snap the Brewers' 6-game road winning streak, and they begin this 8-game homestand with a resounding 11-2 thumping of the Brewers.